Welcome, fellow Jedi and Sith. You are tuning into Imperial Radio, your all-talk weekly Star Wars podcast. I'm your host, Kobe Larson, along with my co-host, Alex Al Wormstead. And we are back for another episode. I think this is like 24? 24, I want to say?
Yeah, I don't know.
Episode? Yeah, I don't know either.
I don't keep track.
No, so, yeah, we're back for another episode this week. Another great episode. We're just gonna be hanging out, you know. Let me just start the. It's Sunday, but let's just start the weekend off right. Yeah, that's a pop. What we're doing this weekend, Star Wars news right now is very lacking. Very dry.
It's awful.
It's
possibly the worst deal in the history of deals I've ever seen.
Possibly ever.
It is. It's not racist at all. No.
But you know, if you look at the Star Wars news, there's a lot of Star Wars news that's kind of popping off, and we'll get to that in the news in less than 12 parsecs in a little bit. But I just want to clarify. I mean, you look at all the news that's going on right now. Like last weekend, we talked about how they're talking about retconning the sequels and all that stuff. And
I agree.
Even though we are the resident sequel haters on the show, there's only two of us. So, Al's the more
they suck.
The more of a
they
hater
suck.
than I am, but I am
embrace it.
I am.
Embrace it. They suck.
I am very.
Just come to your senses, Anakin.
I know.
They suck.
No, I don't want to say that they suck. It's just they're not.
They're awful.
They're not.
Every one of
good.
them should never have gotten paid. That was the worst display of movies I have ever seen in my life.
But that being so, I think both of us agree that that retconning them will do freaking nothing. But that's just
I already seen the garbage.
Right. It's not. It doesn't. You know. You can't spit in someone's face, and then wipe it up and call it good. You know, it just.
I've done it before.
Well,
but
I mean, sure you can. I mean, but basically, what we're trying to get at is that there is just there's so little news that is the big headline news, and it's literally like less than a rumor at this point.
Yeah.
And that's just how little is going on with Star Wars right now. It's so dry, and you can blame an assortment of things. There is definitely a fatigue of Star Wars that comes around in the summer. We're both familiar, obviously, with Star Wars Theory on YouTube.
Yes.
He even had a really good tweet that I actually never really thought about, and he said that every time summer rolls around for him, his views and his subscribers and all of his counts on his channel really plummet in the summer. And he was like, I thought for the last however many years he's been doing this, every summer my channel was dying, but it just turns out that people don't really care about Star Wars as much in the summer. But then when the fall rolls around and you have like conventions and oftentimes movie trailers and stuff like that, the pickup for Star Wars goes way back up. It's just kind of like a summer fatigue thing. People are just kind of tired of it right now.
Yeah.
So I think that's just why there's not a lot of news and there's just not a lot going on. You can blame COVID. You can blame a lot of things. But yeah, there's
Mostly
just not really
Kathleen
a lot going
Kennedy,
on.
though. Mostly Kathleen.
Mostly,
I mean, she is just awful.
Blame her because there's no Star Wars news. God.
It is her job to create news.
Yeah, even if it's fake news.
We want
some news.
We want something.
Which is kind of what's going on, honestly, right now. But so we're going to talk about the few pieces of news we do have and
there is some exciting news, though.
Yeah, there's some Baby Yoda-esque news.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's just get into the news, and then we have a couple things we want to talk about for this week's episode. But it's gonna be a very chillax, very relaxed episode. We're not, we're just kind of having a little fun little thing. So just sit back, crack a cold one, and enjoy.
Get a Liberty Brew. We're sponsored by Mountain Dew.
Yeah,
limited edition
Mountain Dew,
Liberty Blue, 50 flavors in one because we are America.
Yeah, Mountain
all right,
Dew.
that was sponsored by Mountain Dew.
Thank you for that wonderful advertisement.
Actually, we're not sponsored.
We're not sponsored by Mountain Dew, but you could sponsor us.
You could sponsor us.
So
we're also not sponsored by Goldfish, but
we are eating goldfish. So if you hear really annoying crunches, I'm telling you, man, we're relaxing on this episode, man. I'll try not to chew in your ear like that, but.
Alrighty. So should we hop in?
Yeah, let's get into the news in less than 12 parsecs. I'll kick it off. So, Because I know Al wants to talk about the second thing. The second thing is the big news. We got
That's
3
the
pieces
good
of news. He wants the second one, I know, so I'll kick it off. So, sad news. This is probably about a week old news, but, we're a weekly podcast, so haven't had time to talk about it. So, really sad piece of news with the whole COVID-19 virus and an assortment of other things, I imagine. Star Wars Celebration, excuse me, I got the Mountain Dew burps already. Star Wars Celebration has been, I guess hasn't been canceled, it's been postponed would be the better word. So like if you already had tickets to Star Wars Celebration that was in 2020, and the crazy thing is they canceled Star Wars Celebration 2020 and 21, right? They canceled it 2 years in advance.
I mean, I would say that it is it's a postponement for the people
it is postponed
that have gotten tickets,
right?
But
if you got tickets, you get to go. Your tickets they work in 2022. You can show up with the same tickets you had, and they will be what's the word? They'll be honored. They will honor your tickets, basically.
Yeah,
and
so
all that.
I mean, it's an annual thing, so it's kind of got canceled.
Right. It's basically canceled.
It's canceled. But if you had tickets, it's postponed for
the only postponement part about it is that it changes cities every now and then. It was going to be in Anaheim in 2021 and 2022, but I believe it will be in Anaheim again. This is only really news. I mean, this is big news for a lot of people, not really for me and Al, but we had talked about 2021, not this year because Al's got another year left of school, and I'm starting my job Monday, so we thought after in 2021, we'll both be working, we'll both have made a little bit of money, we'll both be out of school. We were going to make the trip up to Anaheim in 2021 to go to Star Wars Celebration because it's in Anaheim, and then it's just a jaunt away to Galaxy's Edge.
That's right.
And we could
some blue milk.
That way we could have the 1-2 punch and go to Star Wars Celebration, have a good old time. I'll probably buy a ton of things and a ton of stuff, and then we go to Galaxy's Edge, have a really good time, buy a ton of things and a ton of stuff, be really poor afterwards.
Yeah, we're going to be poor, but that's all right.
We're going to be very poor. I'm going to buy like 3 lightsabers, I'm going to make one.
I'm bringing $3,000 with me when we go.
Yeah, we had this whole budget planned out and stuff and all the money we would need, and our budget ended up being like, we're going to need a couple $100 for food, maybe like $1,000 for hotel because we're going to stay in a hotel. We want to be out there for like 4 or 5 days.
Right.
And then we're like, how much spending cash are you going to bring? He's like, I don't know, like, yeah, I think you were the first one. You're like, I don't know, $1,000. It's like, I'm gonna need more than $1,000. He's like, yeah, $2,000. I'm like, I don't know, man. And we kept doing giving it the Rancor treatment.
Yeah,
we just kept moving
it up.
We just kept bumping it up, and it ended up being like $2,000-$3,000 that we're gonna spend it just at Galaxy's Edge alone. And I was like, Jesus Christ, our girlfriend's gonna be pissed. Yeah, so that's the big news. Star Wars Celebration has essentially been canceled, but it is postponed. I believe it will be in Anaheim in 2022, as far as I've read. The tickets will be honored. You don't have to worry about a whole lot. Obviously, if you didn't know this, I would cancel your plane tickets and your hotel rooms and all that. But yeah, so that's sad news. But we have some news to make up for it. Al, you want to hit him up with the good news?
Baby Yoda cereal. Cereal and milk. We're going to get some Baby Yoda cereal. Now, basically, don't get too excited. Basically, it is...
Hey, don't tell them that.
It's
beautiful.
It's Kix with green marshmallows.
It's awesome.
But you get Baby Yoda on the box.
You like Kix?
I like Kix.
So it's crazy. We were having this whole discussion before the show. I mean, every time Al comes up to the studio, a.k.a. my apartment, and we kind of chat before the episode, just, random things. He travels for work for the last couple weeks. He has been, so I don't get to see him very often. So when he comes up and we do the podcasts, this is like my time to see him or whatever. So we chat and we go back and forth about all the stuff that we would normally talk about. And we got talking about the Baby Yoda cereal, and then we had like this 20-minute discussion about cereals growing up. And I was like, man, I really love we were talking about that s'mores cereal.
S'mores from Kellogg's. Also, I want to ask somebody this. Because I am over the age of 18 now, can I not see Trix? Can I not see Trix, or do they not make it anymore? Because they say Trix are for kids, and I don't see it. But yet some kids still eat Trix, but I can't see Trix.
Dude, you make a good point, because we were talking about this, right? We were talking about Trix, and it was like, remember when they used to look like how they used to look, and now they're just little circles? And then he's like, dude, how come you can't find Trix anymore? I was like, that's a good question. I feel like it's a very popular series. I was like, wait a minute. What if they were right? What if you really can't have Trix if you're not a kid? And I was like, oh, my God. I'm 20 years old. I don't think I've seen a box of Trix in 3 years since I was 17.
Right. Once you turn 18, goodbye to Trix.
Goodbye Trix, I guess.
Goodbye
I still see all the
Trix
other. That's not a very good business campaign, you know?
No.
That you're really limiting your audience to
Yeah.
someone that's not an adult. But, you know, Trix are for kids, so
Yeah.
they stand by their values.
I just want to know how my mom got Trix when I wasn't with her at the grocery store.
Right. How did she see them?
Maybe mothers can.
Yeah,
have
maybe
Trix.
yeah.
Mothers can get Trix.
Or maybe they like have to like rent a kid at the store,
Maybe.
and they like take you back and be like, "Hey, lady, I know what the Trix are."
Or maybe there's like a secret code for moms with groceries.
Maybe.
I bet you I know what it is. It's those county fair stamps.
That's what those are used for, dude. People that don't live in the Midwest will not
They
get
don't
that
know
because they
that.
do not have county fairs. That's like county fair is like basically like what Kroger's is to like the South, and like what's another big one? Like it's a grocery store essentially. It's basically like a Kroger, I guess. Yeah. So Baby Yoda cereal. I've seen the pictures of it. I just want to get the box because it's got Baby Yoda on the front of it, and the box is so cute.
That's the problem. It just kicks though, guy.
I'm not gonna eat it.
You're not gonna eat it?
I'll try it, I guess.
What about Stormtrooper O's?
Oh God, did you ever have those?
Yeah,
I didn't.
They were not good.
I never had them. I never. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, my mom always got them for me. They were.
She
not
always
good.
did.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
She thought that they were cool.
They look terrible.
They were cool, but
That's one
they
of those
were
things.
just
It's like the
awful.
Wheaties. You get it and you don't open the box. Like when your favorite athlete's on the box
Right.
of Wheaties. You know, like when Wayne Gretzky's on the Wheaties box, you go and buy one and you just put it up on your shelf and go, "That's Wayne Gretzky on a Wheaties box." You know.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So that's Baby Yoda cereal talk. So if you're excited about Baby Yoda cereal, go get some Baby Yoda cereal.
Next up is going to be Baby Yoda milk, and
Baby Yoda milk. It's green. It's green milk.
It's not green. It's actually
it's
Baby
blue.
Yoda's milk.
Oh,
Yeah.
shut up. No, we're done with that.
It only
Um,
comes in quarts, not gallons.
How many frogs do you have to eat to produce that much milk?
I don't know.
That's a lot of frogs. All right, so the last piece of news, and like I said before with the whole...
The best piece of news.
The fake news that's kind of going on around right now that is just not...
Let's just hope this
not
isn't
real.
fake.
So there's rumors going around that with the whole retconning the sequels and this whole plan of action they're taking to for Star Wars right now there's a little piece of news that said with all of this going down, if they retcon the sequels and everything, Kathleen Kennedy might step down from the director of Lucasfilm. Al obviously loves
That's great.
this.
That's great
Al
news.
loves this. He thinks it's good.
You know who needs to be the president of Lucasfilm? Dave Filoni.
I agree. But also, I thought about that the other day. I was thinking, like, Dave Filoni's so great. The guy literally never misses, right?
No.
Everything he does is just he turns to gold. He has the Midas touch. But so when you're the president or the CEO of anything, you get backlash, right? I mean,
Right.
anything that goes bad, the Kathleen Kennedy has a million people under her working with Star Wars and stuff like it, and Lucasfilm, all that.
Right.
One little piece of something goes bad, and it's Kathleen Kennedy's fault. Just like
That's right.
Just like how one thing
No,
goes bad,
that's-
it's Trump's fault.
No, that's right. Kathleen Kennedy, it's her fault.
But that's why, like, you put Dave Filoni up on the podium, right? And then people are just gonna start hating on Dave Filoni, and I don't
No,
want
you can't hate on
I
Dave
don't want poor
Filoni.
cowboy hat man to be sad. That'd make me really sad,
He won't ever get backlash for it. Also, he won't ever become president. I don't think
No,
he
he
wants all
won't.
that
He
much
wouldn't do
power.
that. He would rather just
He'd
stay
rather
writing
sit
and directing and all that.
direct, or just direct a little show by himself, not a whole franchise.
Right.
And
I
he
agree.
does freaking great at that.
Yeah, and that's where he needs to stay where he is, and
when he
we'll let
writes
Kathleen
stuff,
Kennedy
yeah.
to soak up all the punches. 'Cause
Right.
That's
Right.
yeah.
That's yeah.
But
yeah.
again, but that's just one thing. It's like, no matter who they put at the top of the president position, everyone's gonna have something bad to say about him, and they're all gonna knock on him. So I don't really care who it is at this point. It ain't gonna matter. It's just like, it's kind of like what people say about like voting for governor or president or something like that of just local government or the government. Whoever you put up there is gonna get criticism no matter what. So just
Right.
who cares? Like
Except for Ronald Reagan.
except for Ronald Reagan. That was a good man.
That was a great man.
Great man.
Also, another great man, Andrew Jackson.
Yeah, he was pretty. He was a great president. No,
he was. Oh, Hickory.
Oh, Hickory. No, he was actually bad. he was not a good man. He was not a good man. All right, so that's pretty much all we got for news in less than 12 parsecs. Just to highlight, that's the Baby Yoda cereal. So go out and get some Baby Yoda cereal. Try it. Let us know how you feel about it. If we find it, we're gonna get it and we're gonna eat it. Maybe we'll make a video of it, of us testing it live. We should do that if it comes to our county.
I'll get
fire.
some Stormtroopers and I'll let you try it too.
Oh God, I don't want to. I've seen what they look like. And
What if I got you Count Dracula?
Ooh,
You like Count Dracula?
Count Ducula?
Or do you like Blueberry?
I've never had either. They don't make them anymore, do they?
Yeah, only at Halloween, bro.
True. They do have them.
They're
on
so
Halloween.
good.
Yeah.
I like Blueberry because it's scary.
It's so scary as a ghost.
I feel like I just sounded like Chumley.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll give you like $1,000, I guess.
Yeah.
Chumley, this is a quarter.
Is this watch? Is this watch stolen? No. Okay.
Well,
I'll give you $1,000.
I'll give you $1,000. Chumley, that's a $5 bill. I don't know. I better call Rick.
Yeah, but it's from 1985, Rick.
All right.
Okay.
But it says boobs on it. All right. So now that we're done with the news, God, I can't. I'm so off focus today. So we don't really have a lot to talk about, like we said. But something we wanted to talk about, right, was just a little background information. I go back. I'm starting my big boy job tomorrow. We're recording this as of Sunday. You'll probably be hearing this tonight, Sunday night. And so like I've had a lot of free time, just chilling around because I was on the IR, man. I was injured, couldn't start work for a couple weeks, and now that I'm starting, the girlfriend was sad, because she thinks she's not going to see me, even though she has a job anyway. So we both get off at 5. It's not like we're going to see each other any less. But so she told me last night, she's like, I want to hang out Saturday night, and I was like, okay, that's fine, we can do that. And so I show up at her apartment, and she's got all these signs up, and there's 2 idiots standing in the living room, and they're swinging lightsabers at me. One of them's Al, and then
General Kenobi.
Yeah, it's just I walk in there, and like, why are there 2 idiots standing in their apartment? And it's Al and another friend of ours, and they're swinging lightsabers around. And so she set up this whole thing to so we had a private screening of Attack of the Clones at her apartment. So we just went in her room, we watched Attack of the Clones, and she had snacks, she got popcorn and stuff, and it was a nice, cute little. I should have made a TikTok about it so all the girls could just go, oh my God, that's adorable, It was nice, and we watched Attack of the Clones. That is my favorite Star Wars movie, as longtime viewers would know. And so me and Al, best friends, it just happened to be that our girlfriends are roommates.
Yes.
They live together. They're best friends, essentially. So I went with my girlfriend, and he went with his girlfriend, and I didn't realize this, but they went and watched a Star Wars movie, too.
Yeah, that's right.
So we basically had ourselves a little Star Wars movie date with the girlfriends last night. I just want to talk about it, because I think that's a common issue out there in the world is the boys. Not saying that there isn't a lot. There's a lot of girls that like Star Wars too, but the boys that like Star Wars and they're trying to get their girlfriends into it. They're like, man, how do I get my girlfriends to watch Star Wars with me?
Right.
And
the key is, ladies and gentlemen, you got to listen up here. Turn on your ears here, kids. If you want your girlfriend to watch Star Wars with you, you don't tell her you're watching Star Wars. You say we're going to watch a romantic movie. It's a rom action. It's an action rom.
Action rom.
And you put on either one of these: Attack of the Clones or Revenge of the Sith.
Yep.
And then by the time she
if
figures
you're a boomer,
it out,
probably Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, if you're a boomer, you put on Empire Strikes Back, but
just because that's got probably the most lovey stuff. I would say.
But they're going to get bored with Empire Strikes Back because they're not going to know what's going on.
That's true. They will be kind of confused.
Whereas, the prequels, you can just kind of jump in.
Yeah, no, you can really jump into the prequels at any point, as long as they have, like, the slightest clue about who is who.
Right, okay.
Like, if they can identify Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker, then they'll probably understand the prequels pretty good.
Yes. So we, well, that was the first Star Wars movie that McKenna's ever watched.
Yep.
Ever.
Me and Michaela have watched New Hope, and there was one night me and you were watching Revenge of the Sith, and she came over and caught like half of it, but again, she was on her phone, wasn't paying attention. And I think we watched The Phantom Menace one time too, but I don't think we finished it. But that'd be it, yeah.
Yeah. So
she went to Last Jedi with the kid she babysits, but she said she fell asleep. So.
Well, I don't blame her there. It's awful. I mean, there wasn't one sequence other than the beginning when Poe was like, "I'm gonna go big dick mode on this dreadnought." There was just no other better way to put it. I'm sorry.
There's nothing in that movie you like besides that?
Well, there's some stuff.
Oh, okay, well we're gonna have a discussion in a couple minutes then. All right, but yeah, we watched.
That doesn't count. That doesn't. That doesn't count. Oh wait, it does. I think I know.
Yeah.
We'll get to
we'll
that,
talk
ladies
about it in a
and
second.
gentlemen. Sneaky son of a gun.
So, they're so confused. They don't know what we're talking about.
That's all right.
They
don't need to
you'll
know.
know in the next segment. But yeah, from my experience, we started watching the movie or whatever, and so basically, Michaela had no idea what was going on, right? And she's like, well, not that she had no idea, but we're starting with Attack of Clones, and she's basically only watched and paid attention to A New Hope. So she's coming in this with nothing, just whatever knowledge she had coming in before it, Like, I told her, I was like, okay, this is a prequel. I was like, this is before, like, Luke and Leia and Darth Vader, right? I told her, like, Darth Vader is around, but he's not Darth Vader yet. And I explained to her, like, how that kind of happened, and she's like, okay, I kind of get it. I told her about, Anakin and Padme and what what happened before, little bits of information what happened before, and then we watched it, and we watched the whole thing, and we got to see him. Like I told Al before the show, I made the mistake of telling her that my favorite scene is in this movie. So then, like, a bunch of times, like, basically every other scene, is this your favorite scene? No, this is not my favorite scene. My favorite scene is the Geonosian Arena, like when Mace shows up and this party's over. That's, like, my favorite scene in all of Star Wars, right? But that's, towards the end of the movie. So from about 20 minutes into the movie on, is this your favorite scene? Is this your favorite scene? I'm like, no, it's not. It's not my favorite scene. Just wait. And then it came, and we had little lightsabers, so we ignited them. So we felt like, so there was 214 Jedi in the arena that day.
That's right.
Oh, that's a deep cut fact there. But yeah, so it was just good. I think it's hard for girls because I feel like guys, unless they're more like us, and like we're big prequel truthers, right? We love the prequels. We love them.
Nothing is better. Than the prequel.
That's a hot take, bro. That's a hot take, bro. It's like we did hot takes last episode. No, I'm just kidding. No, to us, you're right. There's nothing better than the prequels, and the Clone Wars along with it just makes it so much better. The originals are great. We love the originals.
But you throw that sequel stuff at me, man.
Yeah, and
Hulkamania's gonna come raining down on you.
And there's parts of the sequels that I love, and there's parts that I want to. There's parts I want
that is bad.
Yeah, I'm not that far into it, but yeah, there's parts that I give and take with the sequels a lot, and I get it if you hate them, I get it if you love them. I understand. It's just
I make it sound like I absolutely won't watch them and I hate them.
No, but you literally just told me the other night we should watch Rise of Skywalker.
Dude, I do that. It doesn't matter if it's a bad Star Wars movie. I still want to watch it.
There's still lightsabers. And junk.
Yeah,
but I think when you start with the original trilogy, I think you should start with the prequels if you're starting with girlfriends.
Well, here's exactly what I said. I looked at McKenna and I said, "What is
you watched what movie?
Revenge of the Sith."
Right, I knew that. I was just trying to. I didn't know. If you
sorry, we
I
watched
didn't know if you told
Revenge
the
of the
fans that. Yeah, I was Attack of the Clones. He watched Revenge of the Sith.
So,
which is Al's favorite.
I looked at my girlfriend and I said, "What is the most famous Star Wars quote of all time that everybody knows?" Hoping she would say, "No, I'm your father." That's the actual quote, but Luke, I am your father.
Right.
But she didn't. So then I was like, okay, we could actually start at 4.
Right.
And then I was like, so you want to watch the first Star Wars?
Do you think she knew that though? Like,
no, I looked at her and I said, "What did Vader say to Luke?" And she said, "Who to who?"
Oh, dude,
bad.
you gotta. That's good. Those are rare. There are people out there that don't know that secret. And they're rare, so you get to show them something and blow their mind.
Right.
Right.
So I was like, okay, we can start at episode 4.
Okay.
And she was like, no, I want to watch the movie. And I was like, no. See,
What?
the movies
No.
are called episodes.
That's true. They are called episodes, which is kind of confusing.
They're confusing to him. And she was like, so wait, this one's episode 4, though. I want to start in episode 1. I was like, well, no. Back when this came out, it was just called Star Wars. And there was no episode 4.
Yeah.
And then I said, this one came out in 1977, so technically this is the first one. And she's like, no, I want to start at episode 1. And I was like,
Episode
no.
1 came out in 1999. Episode 4 came out in 77. See how that works? Yeah, I know,
Yeah, this
right?
confuses a lot of people. But anyway,
Right.
so I said, okay, we're going to start beforehand, I guess. And then I say, I can give you a summary what happens in 1 and 2 and a little bit of the Clone Wars. So I did that.
Right.
And we went right into Revenge of the Sith.
Good.
Because, okay, the
I was about
prequels
to
are not
change.
that good, but Revenge of the Sith is
Right.
the best movie of all
As
time.
far as being like good, like as a film. No, I agree. The Revenge of the Sith is good. Attack of the Clones is, I love it to me personally, but it's more of a nostalgia thing.
Yep.
If I had to actually give it like an unbiased grade, it would probably be okay. And the Phantom Menace is like maybe like okay, like 1 point higher, like 1 point higher of an okay than okay,
Yeah.
because they're pretty boring in the middle. But the thing is, with a girl, the boring parts of Attack of the Clones is like a romance thing.
Yeah.
Girls eat that crap up, man.
Girls like that.
I just remember Michaela watching this like, wow, he has no game. He is creepy. That is really creepy. I'm like, yeah, you're right. He's a teenager though. He's a teenager and he's never felt love before.
Yeah.
Like that's so like she ate that crap up, and then we get to the action. She's like, okay, this is good. So she liked the whole movie.
Yeah.
Whereas most dudes watch Attack of the Clones are like, ugh, boop, boop, bloop. They're skipping. They're doing scene selection.
Sound
Yeah.
like TiVo there.
Yeah, it's basically TiVo. You're skipping through the junk.
Yeah, but yeah. She didn't feel the connection, I don't think, of Anakin and Obi-Wan as much as she should have.
No.
That's the problem.
That is the
with
one
it.
thing about starting with Revenge of the Sith is I feel like you need to at least start with Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
Explain what you can, and then once she gets a grasp of
Also, she did not feel any remorse.
for the Jedi or anything like that.
Yeah, during Order 66.
Yeah,
I was I
she-
literally paused it and I was like, this part's sad. These guys are gonna turn on each other. And
Right.
gonna
Yeah.
Kill 'em.
Right.
And then she just was like, why are they turning on each other? And then I paused the movie and went on a rant for 15 minutes about the inhibitor chips and how
Yeah.
Fives found them.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, she fell asleep. She just fell asleep. She
Yeah.
didn't-
I did that right away. I'd paused them. Like I remember I paused 30 seconds in the movie because I'm explaining to her that Padme is not actually on the big ship. She's in one of the Naboo fighters. Attack of the Clones we're talking, obviously. And so I started that, and I'm like, God, I don't want to have to do this the whole movie. I'm like, I'm going to pause the movie, but only at the really important parts that you have to know, right? Which that wasn't really that important. But
Right.
I did that, and I was like, nah, I can't do this the whole movie. Just sit and bloop, just pause it, and then go, yeah, by the way, I did a couple times, but other than that, yeah. So, yeah, we just thought we'd talk about this fun experience of us. This is the first time you watched a Star Wars movie with Kenna, right? And
The
this
deal
is
was I would
basically the
buy her
second-
frozen yogurt at.
you had to bribe her, huh?
Should I promote the business for Jalen?
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Second Lawler, go check out some.
Yeah,
frozen
for all
yogurt.
you,
It's
for all
great.
you, if you live in the Mitchell, South Dakota area, go check out Second and Lawler. Our friend it's a family owned thing for our friend, and they
One
make
of our other Star Wars friends. He's
a Star
probably,
Wars guy.
He's probably right there with us. He's part of the top.
Well, yeah,
He's definitely the one who knows next to me and Kobe the most.
that
I
we
would
know
say.
anyway.
That we know.
that in our friend group. Yeah, I agree. with
Yeah.
that. But yeah, so if you're trying to get your girlfriends to watch Star Wars, my advice would be to start with Attack of the Clones or Revenge of the Sith if you can explain Attack of the Clones good enough. But you have to try to explain it in girl words. Like, I don't want to come off like sounding sexist or anything, because there are girls that like Star Wars. There's probably girls out there that like Star Wars more than me. Well, not like it more than me, but maybe know about it more than me. I've seen a lot of that. But for the average, what you think of, it is a little sexist. But the average girl you think about that, they don't really give a rat's ass about Star Wars are like,
right.
And
the ones that do.
The ones that do. Thank you for existing.
Thank you for existing.
But I think anybody can like Star Wars. That's the biggest thing to me is like
anybody can.
Like our girlfriends are pretty similar. I've seen what they watch. You know, it's
the typical Grey's Anatomy.
They both love Grey's Anatomy.
Minds.
Yeah, well, I like Criminal Minds.
I do too.
I love Criminal Minds.
I like Criminal Minds.
But like, yeah, you're average.
I don't mind that Riverdale show.
I've
kind of like a soap opera.
It's I know.
I like
it is
Bold
kind
and
of
Beautiful, by the way.
Yeah, Al loves the Bold and Beautiful. But you know, when you think about like your average, your stereotype girl, Grey's Anatomy, One Tree Hill.
Hey, One Tree Hill's not bad.
I love One Tree Hill. I like Grey's Anatomy, dude. I watch Grey's Anatomy.
I watch Grey's Anatomy too.
It's a good show. There's nothing wrong with them, but
I like the guy named Alex.
I think anybody can like Star Wars, no matter who they are. I mean,
anybody
kids,
can
adults,
like anything. You just got to give it a shot. Like, okay,
right? But Star Wars is one of those things that anybody can connect with something from Star Wars.
Right. Same with Lord of the Rings. Okay,
what?
I did not get into Lord of the Rings at all. Never watched a movie of it until one of our other friends. His name's Jared. He was huge into Lord of the Rings and Hobbits.
Tease?
Yeah, tease.
Really?
Yeah, and he was like, "Hey, we're gonna go watch some fucking Lord of the Rings. You want to come?" So, anyway, but we started with the Hobbits.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Are they prequels? I've never seen any of the Hobbit movies.
So
I've only seen the Lord of the Rings.
The Hobbit's trilogy is the prequels.
It's prequels. I thought
and then Lord of the Rings is the main.
I thought so. Yeah, no,
they're actually pretty good.
I've seen all the Lord of the Rings
good.
because I used to love Lord of the Rings when I was a kid, but I didn't really get what was going on. I was just kind of liked the big battles and the like when the orcs are storming the castle. I think that's the Two Towers when the orcs storm the castle and they're like trying to like Legolas is shooting him with his bow, trying to fend him off and stuff. And that's a good. I like that, but I didn't really know what was going on. I was just like, yeah, fighting,
Oh, we were all like that.
Well, right. That's what I was doing with Star Wars too. I didn't
right.
every time there's a.
I didn't care about the story.
I didn't care about the Senate scenes or any of that stuff. I was like, when are you gonna fight? Come on, fight.
Yeah.
But now that I watch it, I appreciate all the stuff.
Right. Once you're 5 and 6 years old, you're just like, yeah, lightsaber fight.
Yeah, lightsabers. Yeah, All right, so yeah, get your girlfriends to watch Star Wars. Trust me, anybody, any archetype of person can like something about Star Wars. They might not like a certain movie. Keep trying though, because if they don't like the prequels, try the originals. If they don't like the originals, try Rogue One.
Try Solo. Yeah.
If they don't like that,
try the animated series.
Try the animated series. They don't like that, read them a book. If they don't like that,
if they don't like that, then you watch the Lego animated series.
Yes, you watch the Freemaker Adventures and whatever else, the Yoda Chronicles and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then if they don't like that, I guess you watch the sequels.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So
but that's how far down you don't watch the sequels right away.
No, Al's not kidding, but I'm kidding. If they like the I could see the girls liking the. I could see, and maybe you're a girl out there listening to this, and you have a boyfriend that doesn't like Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
I think it's easier to get a guy to like Star Wars than a lot of girls. But I am generalizing. I guess that's not really fair. I know there's a lot of girls that like Star Wars. I follow a few like on TikTok that make Star Wars videos and stuff, and they're great. They know a lot about Star Wars. It's not so much about being a boy or a girl. It's just kind of your general archetype as a person. What do you like to watch? What do you like?
I think it's just who you grew up around.
That too.
Okay, my class in high school was huge into Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Every single boy watch Star Wars.
I think every boy is when they're a kid, though.
Right. Except
especially
the difference
our generation
is
growing up with the prequels.
Yeah. And I would say there's one other classmate of mine that got into it as much as me.
Right.
And I think we both know, but I don't know if he wants me to say his name. So I'm not going to.
Right.
But I would say he got into it as much as I did, and then everybody else kind of fizzled out.
Mm-hmm.
And once they fizzled out and they just kind of stopped caring because they stopped making the movies, by that time, when they stopped caring, guess what? I'm sitting here as an 8th grader watching an animated TV show.
Oh, yeah. No, me too. Right.
You know? I mean,
and I had no one in my class that I had a class of 7 that I graduated. I had somewhere between 7 and 11 kids in my class at any time throughout elementary, middle school, and high school.
See, and I
didn't have anyone that liked Star Wars.
I had a big class for our school.
Yeah, you had a bigger class for our school, whereas I had one of the smaller classes, and I didn't like.
I think the most we had was 19 at one time.
Yeah, that's crazy. I think the most we had was 11 or 12. No, I don't think we ever even broke. I think we had 11 one time. But yeah, I didn't have anyone, so that's kind of how, because like Al was a class below me, which we have a small school, everybody, literally every single person's face, you can put a name to their face. We come from a really small school, really small town, and like so me and Al discovered that we like Star Wars at a really young age. Like we were talking, I think we talked about this way back when we first started the podcast, how we kind of
we started
talking about it in T-ball. And we, coach is yelling at us like, shut up, play the game. We're like, no, we want to sit in the dugout and talk about Star Wars. I just remember
I was talking to Kobe, and we brought our toy lightsabers to that one game. If you remember this.
Yeah, we did.
And then I was like, I want a Darth Maul lightsaber so bad. And then Kobe looks at me and goes, I have one. And I was literally like, what? Where'd you get that?
Yeah, I did have a Darth Maul lightsaber, dude. Oh, I can't believe I sold all my lightsabers, dude. I had the ones the later model ones that were like you know how there's like the cheaper plastic ones that are like you could like crunch the plastic, it's like the cheaper ones and you just kind of fling them out, right? Mm-hmm. And then they made the ones that actually had the batteries and they lit up and the plastic was like hard. It was like some kind of polymer or something. I don't know if it's the right word, but it was like hard plastic. Like it actually hurt if you whacked someone.
Oh yeah.
I had one but like they didn't go all the way in. They only went so far in and then stuck out. I had one that went all the way in and it was spring loaded, and it was Kiadi-Mundi's lightsaber, I'm pretty sure, and it freaking flung out and went made all the sounds and stuff. Oh, they were expensive lightsabers, and I freaking sold them at a garage sale because I was like, because I went through a mini phase where I grew up and I was like, I don't want toys anymore.
Right.
But then I, like, 2 years later, I'm like, I want toys again. And then I started, my various collections of Star Wars, but I can't believe I ever got rid of that stuff. But yeah, we've been talking about Star Wars for years, man, and it's just...
Oh, it's been a greater 15 years or so.
Yeah, pretty much.
15 years.
Pretty much. Jeez. Yeah. What were we talking about again?
I don't know. Let's get into the
All
last
right.
deal.
So
here
the last thing. Yeah, we totally went off on a freaking tangent there. Let me get my. So, Al had the idea for an episode. Or this isn't anything big. This is just kind of a fun little thing.
Yeah, it's just a little thing.
So, we were talking, and we're like, Al said. We have a board, right? Our board that we write everything down on, that in news and everything like that. And he came up here this morning. I was still laying on the couch I just woke up. I was like, let me go shower quick, and I come back out, and he's got some on the board, and it's top 5 lightsaber fights, right? That could be what we talk about. And I was like, that's a good idea. I like that. We can talk about something. It's something easy, simple. We can talk about, something fun,
something that people can get into.
And we both just watched 2 Star Wars movies last night, so it's the with good lightsaber fights, so it's fresh in our mind. You definitely have the better lightsaber fights, but with Revenge of the Sith than I do Attack of the Clones. But so how we did this was, we took Al wrote on there. It includes, like, obviously the movies are implied, but it includes Clone Wars, Rebels, video games, any lightsaber fights, right?
Yep. Any canon lightsaber.
Any
so if you have canon
comic
fights. Book ones, you can use that.
Yeah, anything like that. But so we both have our lists, and we're gonna count down from 5, and we'll go one at a time.
We were 6.
Or 6. Sorry, we originally we have top 5 on the board, but we changed it to top 6 because it's more Star Wars-esque, and I wanted to fit one more in without having to make a tough decision. So I just made it 6. So we both have 6. We'll count them down, kind of one at a time, and then obviously we'll kind of see how we differ. We'll discuss them a little bit, and we have 6 of them to talk about. We won't talk about them for a crazy long time, but we'll go into detail about each one a little bit. And yeah, so who wants to start? You want to start?
I can start.
Go ahead, you start.
Okay. I'm going to go with, at number 6.
Number 6.
Obi-Wan Kenobi versus Pre Vizsla.
Ooh, Clone Wars.
And I pretty much only like it because it's the first time you get to see the Darksaber, and it was just kind of cool seeing a non-Force user actually somewhat know how to use a lightsaber pretty good. Granted, in Jedi etiquette, he kind of cheats a little bit, but
yeah, a little
Pre
bit.
Vizsla, I'm saying. But
yeah, right.
But it's all right.
He cheats.
Anyway, That's really the only reason, just because it's the first time you get it.
This is when they're on the moon.
Yeah.
Whatever their moon's called, and he's with Duchess Satine, and Obi-Wan's like trapped, and he's about to get crushed by that big crusher thing.
Yep.
Okay, I like that. That's a good lightsaber fight. Yeah, because first time you get to see the darksaber, right? One of the first times you see, besides General Grievous, a non-Force user using a saber.
Right.
Essentially, I mean, it is definitely one of the first times. I like that. At number 6, it's good. It's got substance.
Yeah.
It was good for an earlier episode in the series. Pretty good. I'll give it that. So, I don't know what Al's are, but we did kind of somewhat discuss what we picked.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't go into detail about what we picked. We kind of discussed some of the things how we chose this, how we chose our 6, and I kind of forgot. Mine are all from the movies, okay? And I started listing them out, and then I was like, oh wait, I can use stuff from the Clone Wars and stuff too. And I was gonna change some around because there are some really good Clone Wars, Rebels, all that stuff fights, right?
Right.
And I don't want to discuss any in case Al has some of those on his list, and I don't want to, step on his toes. But I honestly, like I told Al, I said, there's a lot of great fights in those shows, and they're really good because when you animate, you can do a lot of things that humans can't do. Right? You can. Just for example, I will use this one as example. I told him, I was like, I love the part with Darth Maul and Savage Opress versus Obi-Wan and Adi Gallia on that Clone Wars episode, and Savage Opress just freaking headbutts Adi Gallia and horns her to death.
Yeah, and see, before that happened, I always thought that would be the coolest thing ever for
Zabrak.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To literally just impale someone.
Just impale them with their horns, right? That's awesome. That'd be really hard to do in a movie. Well, it wouldn't be hard to do in a movie, but it's just stuff you can do with animated series where it's like
you can do it with an animated series with
right.
ease
You can do so much stuff in an animated series.
You can do it with a movie, but it would cost you.
It costs so much, and you have to train everybody to do it. Yeah, but I told him, I used to use that as an example. That's a really good one, but I just don't know if any of the animated ones can outdo any of the. Not any of the movie ones, but my favorite movie lightsaber fights are just so much better than my favorite Clone Wars Rebels.
Yeah.
Especially like in a comic book or something like that. It's like, it's cool because you'll get to see people face off that you never saw in the movies, but it's like, can it really beat out a movie lightsaber battle for me? Is there anything better than a movie lightsaber battle? Clone Wars, Rebels, and the animated shows are up there. Don't get me wrong, because they look good. They look nice,
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of good ones in there.
I'm telling you. An animated one can beat a movie one.
It can, but not the best movie ones, in my opinion.
No.
My top six movie ones are far and away. But I gave it a shot. I was like, maybe I will add some, and I started thinking. I was like, I just don't know if any of these. You might think one of them, but so my number six. Mine is. I wrote it down on my notes as Mace and Friends versus Palp. So it's Mace, Kit Fisto, Sasitin, Agen Kolar. They come in and they fight Palpatine, right? Obviously, the other three didn't do much. They got cut down right away.
Hey, Kit Fisto lasted like 40 seconds.
Yeah, Kit Fisto did a 1-2 swing and went, yeah, I think that's a good fight. It's mostly, I should call it, Mace versus Palpatine. And I guess Anakin kind of, because Anakin shows up towards the end, but I like that fight because, like, I like it in the movies, but, like, when you read about it in the Revenge... I haven't actually got to that part. I'm reading the Revenge of the Sith novelization right now. I haven't got to that part in the novelization, but I know what it's like in the novelization and how they word it, and they make it seem so interesting in the novelization. Right. And the not in the movie, but when they talk about it outside of the movie, they're like they say, like, Palpatine and Mace are moving at freaking light speed. They're moving so fast, and they tell it from the view of, like, Anakin, and he says, like, they were basically fading in and out of existence. I think that's fascinating because that's the first time you really get to see how powerful Mace Windu is.
Mm-hmm.
He does a little bit in the Geonosian arena, but other than that, you see him take on this Sith Lord and best him.
Yeah.
And about to kill him had Anakin not intervened.
People think that Palpatine lost on purpose, but
I don't think so.
Lucas literally said,
he's like, no, Mace is just this powerful. There are two. He's like, there are two people in the universe that could defeat Palpatine at this point in time, with some people say, "Oh, Anakin could." No, not even Anakin could defeat Palpatine at this time. Mace Windu and Yoda were the only ones that had a chance, and they only had a chance, right?
Right.
And Mace Windu used that, and he had a chance, and he bested Palpatine. I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
So it's not just the movie aspect of the fight; it's just the whole universe. The universe. That's just amazing. I love that fight.
See, that one just missed out on my top 6.
Yeah. See, it was in my 6, and I was actually. That was the one I was going to replace out with one of the Clone Wars ones I really enjoy. But I figured you had it on your list, so I called it good.
Yep.
Number 5.
Yep, number 5. I got Vader and Luke Empire.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I like that one better than the Return of the Jedi one.
The final duel?
Yeah. Because they're just kind of sparring, and it just seems like a gentleman's fight. In Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, you're right. It's very boring. I agree. No, I'm just kidding. I like Empire, and I like that fight. It's good, obviously.
It also just has so much.
Take away the iconicness of it, though.
Yeah.
It's a really lame fight. It's definitely.
It is.
For 1980, it was a good fight.
I would just like to say, look at 1977 lightsaber
I know.
fight.
I was just going to say, leaps and bounds better than Obi-Wan versus Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. They improved so much. But that's just one thing that the prequels will always have on the originals is just better lightsaber fights.
Sequels did not make the list on mine. I know one probably made it on yours, but
yeah, one did on mine. There's one sequel on mine, so. But yeah, I just original trilogy, and I give them as much credit as I can. It was the original trilogy. It was the 70s and 80s. That's just
yeah.
But I like you take away the iconicness of it, and it kind of loses some of its value. But it's so iconic the first time that they meet, But yeah, I mean, it's a great pick at number 5. Obviously, if you had that at number 1, I'd be like, all right, that's a little sus. But
call me a boomer.
Yeah, big boomer. Yeah. So, anything else?
Now on to your number 5.
Okay, I was gonna say anything else you want to add to that?
No, just pretty cut and dry.
Number 5. So my number 5, I actually have to look and see if I couldn't even remember my order there for a second. So this one, Al's going to love this one. This fight was the silver lining to my cloud, right, of The Last Jedi. Right? This was, and it's crazy because before this fight, my least favorite, not my least favorite scene, because the scene is good itself, but my least favorite thing that happens in The Last Jedi happens directly before this fight. Right? So Snoke gets cut in half. Hated that. I hated that in The Last Jedi. I was pissed off. I like Snoke as a character, and they just offed him. They just offed him, right? And I was so mad. But then right after, there was this beautiful little fight with Rey and Kylo and the Praetorian Guards. And I don't know why, but it's not so much the actual fight itself. The cinematography in that scene is amazing. Like, the backdrops and everything that goes along with that. I love that. So, the Rey and Kylo versus the Praetorian Guards is my number 5, right? I didn't think a sequel fight would make the list. An original trilogy fight barely made my list. So
I would put Luke and Kylo before that one, honestly.
It's not about the fight itself, right? It's the cinematography and how they shot that scene. I love that scene, and a lot of people agree. Like,
right, a lot of mine are based on heavy backstory and just story.
Right. This is not one where the fight's good. It's well choreographed.
Every lightsaber fight's good.
Yeah, it's well choreographed, and I think Rey does well, and Kylo is really good with how he just like freaking just brutalizes those Praetorian Guards. Just freaking guts them. But there's just something about the cinematography and the whole backdrop, all the red that's going on there. I love the Praetorian Guards and how they're red. I really like those guys in the movies, really. But the rest of the movie, I wasn't big on. But that was just that. It was just like, it was the silver lining of the really, really dark cloud that was The Last Jedi for me. So maybe it has a little bit of bias in that way that it just really brought me out of my last Jedi slump. But I don't know. That's pretty much all I got to say about it. It's just good. It's a good fight scene. The best in the sequels, in my opinion.
It's the best in the sequels. Well,
the Luke and
I like
the Luke and Kylo one is good. but
I
it's
like
just
the
the whole.
Ben,
Oh,
the redemption of Ben.
okay. I like that parts of that, but there's no lightsaber on lightsaber in that one for me, so it's just like, it's him facing off with the Knights of Ren is cool.
It's cool,
but it's like lightsaber. I need some lightsaber on lightsaber action. You know what I mean? And there's none of that. So
right?
but yeah, and the Luke and Kylo one in Episode 8 is good, but it's just kind of like that thing of like they never actually technically fought.
Yeah, I guess.
No, I'm not like saying that I was excluding it because of that. It's just I don't know. I like that part, but there's just nothing. There's just not enough there for me to like think that that's better than the previous fight. So
yeah.
So what do you got for your number 4?
I've got Maul, Qui-Gon, and Obi-Wan.
Ooh, dude, I gotta say before you start, this one did not make my list.
Really?
But this is. I don't know if we preface this, but this is a list of our favorites, right?
Yeah.
And not like what we think are the best. This is our favorites personally. This is personally biased. But that fight is one of the best in Star Wars. Like
I think it's great.
It may be the best fight in all of Star Wars. It may be. But it's just something about it is just not my favorite. So I didn't put it in my list. I just know that's going to shock people. I just wanted to throw that shocker out there. But you had it at number 4. I'm kind of surprised. I thought that'd be higher.
No.
Explain yourself.
Well, I like it just because, Darth Maul, 2 lightsabers in one.
Oh my God, he's the double. Yeah.
I like it because I'm pretty white. God, I can't say that. It's so sexy. I am pretty basic. Pretty basic, and I like Qui-Gon, and I also like Maul a lot. Obi-Wan, he's just kind of there, as he is in the fight. He's just
but he does
there.
win the fight.
He does win the fight.
Don't forget that. Don't you discount Obi-Wan.
The rest of the fight, though, it's just kind of like Maul's making him his bitch.
He is, but that ends up being his downfall.
Like just slapping him around and like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, no, it's a great fight. But
it's a great fight. I just like it because in the Naboo hangar and all that, it's just cool.
It's extremely cool, and the score on top of that.
Just think about this: the last lightsaber fight people seen was Return of the Jedi, and they waited all movie, and they're probably sitting here thinking back in 1997.
They're like, "Wow, this movie's boring,"
and then all of a sudden,
yeah, I know,
I guarantee everyone's butthole went super tight.
No, it did. Everyone's butthole clenched up.
Oh my God!
Oh my God, that's amazing! Like, no, they literally did, and that's, if you were alive or around to see the original 3 in theaters, and you kind of saw which back then to them they're like, that was awesome, but then you see the Phantom Menace, and it just cranks it up to 11, 2 lightsaber blades, 2 Jedi versus 1 guy.
Yep.
It was insanity. I wish I was alive to see that. I was alive when it came out. No, I wasn't. I wasn't alive when that came out.
Because that was the first time anybody's ever seen anything like that, too.
Right. It was just, and that's why it's
innovative.
It's got an iconicness to it, but it's not like how Empire Strikes Back is kind of a boring fight, but it has a lot of iconicness. It was iconic, and it was a great fight.
Yeah.
Personally, I think it might be the best fight in all of Star Wars, just not my favorite.
Okay.
And obviously not your favorite, too, I can tell.
No, it's not my favorite.
I honestly figured that one would be like 2.
Really?
I was thinking it would be like 2 or 3, maybe even 1. I don't.
No, you should.
I have a good idea what your 1 is, but I won't spoil anything, and I could be wrong. I'm not 100%, but so my number 4 is just like how I only had one sequel fight. I only did one original trilogy fight.
Okay.
Do you have any original trilogies?
I did number 5.
Oh yeah,
that's
no.
the only one.
Besides Empire though.
No.
Nope. Okay.
No.
So you just had one? I forgot about Empire.
Yeah.
But
I only have. No, I'm not gonna say that.
Okay. So my number 4 is Luke, and depending on what side of the fight you're on, it's Luke versus Darth Vader and Palpatine, and then later it's Luke and Darth Vader versus Palpatine, because Darth Vader switches up sides in Return of the Jedi, right? The final duel, as it's called. To me, this is my favorite fight in the. It's my favorite, obviously. My favorite movie of the original 3 is Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
mainly because of this fight. And I will argue that this is my opinion, that it is the best fight in the original trilogy. I'll argue that. Change my mind. Steven Crowder, change my mind.
I will probably agree with you. I just like Empire a little better.
Right,
in the fight.
right.
The whole movie of Return of the Jedi, I think, is honestly a little better than Empire Strikes Back,
we're treading dangerous waters there.
That's a hot take there.
That is a hot take. But to me, I think it is the best of the original 3 lightsaber fights. But it's also my favorite, so that's why I put it up. It just doesn't beat out some of the prequel ones for me. And again, this is biased as hell.
Who cares, man?
It's
sorry,
my top 3 are all prequels. I'll tell you that.
Like, okay, if you think that the prequels do not have the best lightsaber fights, I'm sorry. You need to be in a padded cell if you think that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I get it. The older people that grew up watching the originals, they obviously don't have the same opinion about the prequels and about anything, and then they have that bad stigma around the prequels of how they were. There are parts of the prequels that are really bad, and I will agree with that. The lightsaber fights are just
every single second of the prequels is solid gold.
Yes, every single second. No, but this one for me, I felt kind of bad not having any OT on there besides this one, but this is just the one. This is the most, to me, it has the most emotion. That's a big part of a lightsaber fight is emotion, Luke is borderline about to turn to the dark side because he's so pissed off at his dad because he was saying stuff about his sister, and he's like, Then he starts hacking at him. And then
Joe Biden comes and starts kissing Leia. I don't know what
I don't know what's going on here anymore. No, but and then you have, talk about iconicness. This is the first time we see Force lightning.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
First time you get to see the Emperor.
In person. First time you get to see the Emperor. Yeah.
In human form, not monkey form.
Well, you see him in the beginning of the movie too.
Right.
But first time that you kind of see him do anything.
I was just talking the movie, I guess, in general.
Right. Well, yeah, just the movie. Yeah, right. This is the first time you get to see him freaking do anything. This big bad that we've been hearing about, and we don't see him do much but sit in a chair. But then he gets up and freaking lightning coming out of his fingers. That was amazing. I didn't see it in theaters. I'm only 20 years old, but it's amazing in that way because it's iconic. Like Empire, all that stuff. It's iconic.
Yeah.
And the turning point with Darth Vader, and he picks up Palps and says bye-bye.
They edit it now to where when he's looking back and forth at Luke and the Emperor, he says no.
I don't know. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of that change. It's kind of it's kind of a cringy line to me. Just no.
But it fits Anakin's persona. And it kind of shows that it's back to Anakin. I think it fits Anakin's persona.
If it was up to me, if I was directing it, and if I was doing the reshoots, I'd leave that alone. That's just my opinion. I don't know. There's something to me about in movies when there's just really cringy, when characters talk to themselves. I don't like that.
Yeah.
For example, last night, right? We're watching Attack of the Clones. And how many times in that movie does Ewan McGregor, with nobody around, just say something, something witty oh, I hate it when he does that. Oh, this is why I hate flying.
Yeah,
I don't like there's something about it when characters talk to themselves and they just spit out little one-liners that. I don't like that. There's something about it.
I don't like it to a point.
It's weird to me.
To Obi-Wan, I don't care what Obi-Wan does because
Obi-Wan's perfect and nothing he ever does is wrong.
He is basically Jesus, and if you have a problem with him, you have a problem with me.
He is, right. But I just don't like how the little
I get that though.
The little smirky one-liners. It's I'd leave that part alone. But yeah, number 4,
the little smart-ass remarks or whatever.
Right. It's just some of them are okay, some of them are good, but Obi-Wan's gonna kill me. I like that one when Anakin's lightsaber gets chopped in half. I like that. That's fine, because it's true. He is gonna kill him. But yeah, Luke versus Darth Vader and Palpatine. Just the emotion in that fight. Just the overall. Just the whole fight in general is just the lightsaber. It's probably the most souped up lightsaber action. You know what I mean? Probably the fastest swing in, and the Darth Vader chucks his lightsaber at Luke.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Also, I would like to say something.
Yeah. Okay.
This goes off the record. and just kind of out there. But one time, I was playing my Nintendo DS, Force Unleashed, and you throw a lightsaber in it.
Mm-hmm.
And there was someone, I'm not going to say names, I think Kobe knows, maybe he doesn't though, maybe he's never heard the story, but someone who was at our school, it was a woman.
Oh, yeah,
and she said, "You don't, what are you playing?" And I said, "I'm playing Star Wars." And she says, "You don't throw your lightsaber in Star Wars." And I was like, yeah, they do. And she's like, "They never do it in the movies." And I was like, "Vader does it and Yoda does it. You need to go back and watch."
Yoda literally freaking chucks it, football throws it into a clone's chest.
I love that.
And then goes up and freaking climbs on him and grabs it out.
I love that.
That's amazing.
I absolutely love that.
Yeah, that's
because that's all animation.
Mm-hmm.
That's just awesome.
Oh, it's all CGI.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Okay. So are we on your number 3?
Yeah, I'm on my number 3.
Yeah. Number 3.
I have at number 3, Darth Maul versus Ahsoka Tano.
Oh, the new Clone Wars season?
Yes.
I see. That didn't even cross my mind.
It is amazing. The animation in it, the whole fighting with it.
Dude, they did the mocap for that, the motion capture.
Yeah.
Amazing. They actually had Ray Park come in and do that, and Ahsoka, I think they did it with Ahsoka too. They mocapped that whole thing. That's awesome.
It was awesome. It was basically like a real fight, but animated. It was crazy. It was by far one of the, and I will say this, it was the best animated fight in the history of Star Wars ever. The best, but not my personal favorite. Fight.
Really? The best?
When it comes to picture, not my personal favorite.
Yeah. When it comes to just
how it looks,
yeah,
and
I'll
how
agree with that.
Not to, I mean, because the story behind it
is meh.
Yeah, it's just
It was cool to see, but it was like,
Yeah.
I thought you were saying just it was the best fight in all. And I was like,
no.
I got to disagree with that. There's a couple.
No,
there's a couple in the Clone Wars
There's other
and
ones
Rebels
that are better than that, but I just think the way that one looks, kind of like your Praetorian Guard one.
Yeah, right.
This one
it's
looks,
the cinematography of it.
It
it's
looks
great.
awesome.
Yeah. Looks
also
amazing.
I love Darth Maul. I love Sith.
We know you do. We know you love Darth Maul. He's like one of Al's favorite characters. He loves the Darth Mauls.
I do. I mean, I think that I think I should play him in a movie, but
I think you should too. We were talking before we started recording. We were still filling them out. And I was like, dude, it's kind of crazy. I have I had 4 out of my 6 done. Or we only had 5. We were only doing 5 at the time before we decided to do 6. I was like, dude, I got 4 of my 5, and they're all prequels. He's like, that's okay. Like 4 of mine are Darth Maul. I'm like, holy crap, what? And that's what kind of made me think, oh, you're doing Clone Wars and stuff. But yeah, no, pretty much any fight Maul's ever been in is good.
Yeah.
I mean, tell me a bad Maul fight. I don't really know of any.
I don't know of any.
I think the best one in animated form is a Maul fight. So
it is.
We can talk about that. 'Cause I don't know if you have that down.
Oh,
or
it's
not,
on there.
Okay, good. So, you good with that?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
All right. Number 3. So my number 3 is definitely has some recency bias to it because I just watched the movie last night. And this one is not the best looking fight, but I think the in-universe, the actual fight itself and what's going on and what's kind of at stake and what's just happened. My number 3 is Anakin and Obi-Wan Obi-Wan / Yoda versus Dooku, right?
Okay.
So this one, to me, not the best fight. Like, Christopher Lee, this was 2002, and Christopher Lee was still old, right?
Yeah.
So they had to do a lot of close-ups on the fight. Like, if you notice in the fight, Anakin chops the light cable, and the lights go out, and the lights are flickering, and the lightsabers are flickering, and, like, they do a lot of close-ups on their face. They did that because they couldn't get very much footage of Christopher Lee being very acrobatic. Like, Christopher Lee is actually a what do you call it? Fencing. He's a fencer. Like, he was a fencer in real life. So he was good. Like, that's why Count Dooku uses his, like, Makashi Form 2, like, fencing type of style, because Christopher Lee was a very good fencer. But he's also very old, so it was hard to get, like, really good footage. So they did a lot of close-ups and stuff. So a lot of people argue that wasn't a very good fight. I think in that aspect it wasn't that great of a fight, actual looks, until Yoda came.
Yeah.
But here's the thing for me, right? So Anakin and Obi-Wan, they face off against Dooku. Pretty cool. It's the first time you really get to see. It's the first time you get to see Anakin lightsaber to lightsaber.
It is.
Yep, it is. First time you get to see Obi-Wan while he's in, you see him versus Maul, I guess, but the first time you get to see Obi-Wan as he's, not a Padawan, and you expect him to be pretty powerful.
Right.
And then you get to see Dooku for the first time, this brand new character, and he's supposedly pretty powerful, right? That part of the fight was, it's good, but
Yep.
I liked it, but it doesn't last very long, and they both kind of get dicked down, and Anakin loses an arm, which is pretty iconic.
Yeah.
But then, and I was remember how I was telling you how I'd pause the movie and explain stuff to Michaela? I paused the movie right as Yoda's hobbling in, right? And he goes, and he stands there. I pause the movie and I go, okay, imagine this. She's like, okay. I'm like, you are however old you need to be in 2002 that you saw the original movies in theaters, right?
Yep.
And you know Yoda as just this little hermit who walks around with a cane. And in the original 3, he's cool. He trains Luke and stuff, but he never does anything that emits physical prowess, physical power,
Yep.
right? You never see Yoda swing a lightsaber. You only see him, lift stuff up with the Force. So I was like, okay, imagine that. She's like, okay. I'm like, imagine him just being a little old man, just a wise old man. She's like, okay. I say, now, think about this. It's 2002. You're seeing this in theaters, and Yoda. I was like, just imagine him, right? Look at him. He looks pretty old, right? She's like, yeah. What are you getting at? I'm like, watch this. Click play. And, dude, the score for when Yoda is pulling back. Well, first they do some Force stuff, right?
Yep.
Count Dooku throws some stuff at him, and Yoda blocks some lightning. And then, this cannot be decided by our power of the Force, but by our skills with the lightsaber. And everyone I told Mikhail, I was like, imagine being in the theaters and you're like, oh shit, Yoda's gonna have a lightsaber, right?
Right.
That's what gets it for me. Yoda brings out his lightsaber, and it's a short fight, It's not that great, but that's the first time you saw Yoda freaking go off.
Right.
Like, just go off. And that, to me, is why it's at that number 3, is because, can you imagine? The fanboys in 2002 were freaking jizzing their pants watching
absolutely.
Yoda pull his cloak to the side, bring out his lightsaber with the Force. Oh, man, that's what does it for me. Sorry to go on a long rant there, but
no, that's fine.
That's what does it for me.
Iconic.
It's just,
it's awesome.
It's freaking awesome.
We've had this discussion before.
I'm literally every time I see that fight, and then one other one that's actually in my list, still makes me gives me shivers to this day because it's so awesome. That's where I'm at with that one. That's why it's number 3. There's obviously better ones, and I think Al and the listeners will probably have a pretty good idea what they're going to be. But
right.
So we're on your number 2, aren't we?
Yep, this one's pretty cut and dry.
Number 2.
Pretty cut and dry number 2, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone knew it was coming. Some say it was arguably the best one, but it's not.
Shoot. I think we have the same one.
Anakin versus Obi-Wan on Mustafar. We can talk about it together then, since it's
this is my number 2. This is my number 2 as well.
It is a great fight. The story behind it gives me chills when they're just sitting there sparring, basically in circles.
Right. They're just walking around each other.
And I think of this too.
My point of view. Well, that's later on in the fight. What is
right.
this? They say a lot of stuff in the beginning, like
your new empire.
Your new empire.
But
don't make me kill you.
Imagine this. It's 2005. Let's say.
The prequels have led up to this point, right?
Yes, the prequels have led up to this point. You are old enough to have watched the originals.
Yeah, so
you are literally Lucas did this on purpose.
Yeah.
You literally have Anakin and Obi-Wan just circling.
Yep.
Just teasing.
Yeah.
Just teasing.
Just stirring the pot.
Because they're like, shit is about to go down.
Yeah.
I got chills right now, man.
This is what and everyone's thinking in their mind. They know Anakin's Darth Vader.
They
know
know
Obi-Wan is Obi-Wan, right? And they're like, what is going to happen? What is going to put him in this suit?
Right.
Yeah. A lot of these are coming from the aspect of being a person who saw the originals in theaters, whereas we didn't. So we didn't get that cool experience.
We didn't get that cool experience. No, we're like, hey, that guy.
We just know what was going to happen. It was like, yeah, it's fine, but
yeah, and then of course I love the emotion at the end of the fight.
Oh yeah,
that
when Anakin's freaking becoming a burnt potato chip and
Obi-Wan's saying that he was the chosen one, how he loved him like a brother. All
he was a brother to him, and
it is just one of that scene, I think, is one of the most iconic next to Luke, I'm your father.
Dude, it is. It's extremely iconic.
And I think it's the best scene personally, just because it shown for the best scene for Anakin and
right.
Obi-Wan.
Oh, sure.
Because
easily.
It shows the action, and it's hard because if you don't know the connection between them, like McKenna, my girlfriend, she didn't know the connection between them.
There was no weight to her because she didn't. She didn't
only
see
seen
what.
Right. She only seen about
right.
What, an hour and 30 minutes of them being friends.
them being together, and
Whereas,
they're not really together in the movie.
No, they're
Whereas
not.
like Attack of Clones, they are thick and thin next to each other. I mean, they're not, but or like the Clone Wars and stuff
The
like
Clone
that.
Wars
You don't
are
see that
always
connection,
together.
that
Right.
brotherhood that they build, and then just is destroyed.
Right.
I know that. That's why I had it number 2. It's just the emotion of that fight, and it's a great fight.
It is.
It's a great fight.
It's the most expensive fight that they've ever
Yep,
done,
it
and
was.
also it took, I don't know how many years did they say it took? 2 to choreograph all that.
Yeah, choreographed, train. I think it
Train.
was all together. They had to train. I mean, could you imagine how good of a sword fighter that Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen are because of that fight? Just
Right.
because of all the, and like there's some kind of meme parts about it with the whole like them spinning the lightsabers in circles, but looked freaking cool.
Looked fucking great.
Or like the part where Anakin's choking out Obi-Wan, and you can see Obi-Wan's like the life is leaving his body, and Anakin's just, you can see his freaking Sith eyes kind of, and they're like,
yeah.
which he doesn't really have Sith eyes at the time. He only has like Sith eyes in one scene. And honestly, you could count before that when Anakin's just slaughtering the Separatists. Great part. I love that part.
That's a great part.
Lord Sidious promised us peace. Yeah, like that's yeah, right. Or like when Wat Tambor's at the end of the he's at the end of the table and Anakin turns and you see his eyes, and that's like the only time he really has Sith eyes. But or when he's crying before.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, he only has Sith eyes in that scene, and then when he's getting burnt and says, "I hate you."
He has the Sith eyes in that scene. But that's just a great fight. And if anyone argues that, they're just, I mean, I'm fine with people having their opinions. I'm fine if you don't have it in your top 6 personally, but like you have to acknowledge that fight as how great it is.
I mean,
in all aspects.
If we were doing a straight up honest opinion of best fight, not just personal.
Every factor put in, emotion, how well the fight was choreographed, the weight of the film, all that stuff.
Yeah, that fight should be number 1.
It probably should be.
I have more personal
As
stuff
do I with mine.
Yeah. Where that fight is
Personal
not even
reasons.
debatably, that fight is the best lightsaber fight of all time. That fight might be one of the best
fights of all time. I could see that.
Also one of the best betrayals of all time in that whole scene.
Easily.
But yeah.
So yeah, that's our number 2. I was surprised that we had that together. I knew you would have it somewhere, but I didn't know if you'd have it number 2. But yeah, so how do we? So we both gave our number 2. So you
give my number 1.
It's time for
okay.
Number 1.
All right, now this might surprise a lot of people. Probably not Kobe. He knows it's coming.
I kind of think I know what's coming.
But this one's got great emotion, great backstory, and it gives me a lot of chills.
Yep.
Palpatine. Yep. Versus Maul. Versus Savage.
Yeah, I knew it. I knew that was coming.
Just because of when he's sitting in the Mandalorian or Mandalore in the throne room.
Yeah, the throne room.
And he's sitting there, and he's just how Maul's. I haven't felt his presence since. And then his eyes opens, and he says, "Master." And then one of the Mandalorian guards just. Boom.
Yeah, just freaking flings to the ceiling.
Yeah. And also, it's
can only
you get to see
2.
You can see Palpatine with
dual blading.
And it's just you can't do that in real life,
right?
Because the
Ian
way
McDermott
he moves,
is, 60 years old in the prequels.
And not only that, even if you had a 20-year-old guy who was great with 2 swords, right. I don't think you could get someone to move like that.
And that's what I love about the animated. That's one thing the animated lightsaber fights have on everything is you can do so much, like we talked about. You can just do so much, You can have guys doing freaking crazy 10-foot flips where you can't really do that as easy in a movie.
Right. Yeah, there ain't too much behind it other than just, one, I'm a Sith person, so it's awesome to see.
Sith versus Sith versus Sith?
Yes.
Essentially.
There's so many, it's like, it's cool to see red on red. It was cool to see blue on blue with the Battle of the Heroes or whatever.
It was.
But red on red.
Red on red.
Because I love
Sith.
Sith. And that's just awesome.
That is great. And I love that fight. That to me. Remember when I thought you were gonna say that Maul and Ahsoka was the best fight, like overall?
See,
that
that
to
one
me
is the best fight.
The best. That to me is the best fight.
That is the best fight in the Clone Wars.
In the Clone Wars,
and that's my favorite fight of all time. But the Ahsoka and Maul one is
better
choreographed.
Right? Yeah, it is better choreographed.
If we got the Savage, Maul, and Palpatine fight
in mocap, that'd be amazing.
And yeah, I mean, if we just got it in the last, like if they came out with this season with that fight,
right?
That would be. I wouldn't even care to.
Yeah.
I will argue with anybody if we had it in mocap that it would be the best of all time.
Yeah, sure.
I like that fight. I like that fight a lot.
It's a great fight. I think it's the best Clone Wars one. It's just like I told him. I was just like, I don't know if I like any of the animated fights enough that I could put them over. I could probably put that one over like maybe my 5 or my 6. I didn't, but it's variable. It kind of depends on.
Right.
My opinions are variable. A lot of times they change, but is that all you got?
That is all I got, man.
I didn't want to cut you off in case you're just
you're
gonna bring some heat to the table there. All right.
I think I know what your number one is.
I think you do too. I've jizzed about this so much. Like, this is my number one is here. Let's you guess and you see if you can get it.
I'm gonna guess it is Yoda versus Palpatine.
It's Yoda versus Palpatine. It is. That's my favorite. That is my favorite fight in all of Star Wars, right? It's the B side to Anakin versus Obi-Wan.
Right.
And that's kind of what makes it good. Yoda versus Palpatine makes Obi-Wan and Anakin good, just like Obi-Wan and Anakin makes Yoda versus Palpatine good.
Right.
Because they're going back and forth. It's Anakin and Obi-Wan, fighting it off. It's apprentice kind of versus apprentice. I mean, Obi-Wan's not Yoda's apprentice, but it's the apprentice versus apprentice and the master versus the master.
Yep.
It's amazing. But my thing with it is same thing as what I said with Anakin versus Obi-Wan, or Anakin and Obi-Wan, Yoda versus Count Dooku. Yoda walks in. Master Yoda, you survived. Surprised? Like, you see Yoda, and it's the same thing. Every time Yoda enters a lightsaber fight, he just walks in and stands there, exchanges a couple words.
Dude, for being a 3-foot little boy, big dick energy.
He does. He has a massive dick energy. He walks in there.
Like he owns the place.
No, dude. And
he walks in there like there wasn't just some huge order to kill him.
Right. He walks in there like
Cool,
he's about to walk in
collective.
there and, tell him to F off and go home.
Yeah.
But, like, he walks in there. And, yeah, he does kind of get bitch thrust across the room.
But I think that just kind of took him by surprise.
It did. No, it really took him by surprise.
So it was a low blow from Palp.
It was the equivalent of a sucker punch in the terms of force, right? So, and Palpatine thinks he freaking killed him. I don't know if he thinks he kills him. I'd have to read it in the novelization and what
Right.
Palpatine was thinking. I kind of think it looks like he thinks he killed him. And then Yoda, you kind of think Yoda's hurt, and then he opens his eyes as he's laying on the floor. And Palpatine is trying to frickin' flee, right? This Sith master who is essentially one of the most powerful beings in the galaxy, in the universe at this point. And he is afraid of Yoda, so he tries to flee, right? And Yoda, one of my favorite lines, if so powerful you are, why leave? And he pulls out his lightsaber.
And he uses the Force and flips it up.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's what makes it the best fight to me. It's a good fight, and it's a lengthy fight, which is good. You like length.
Mm-hmm.
There's change in scenery. I think the part in the Senate building is awesome. They stop using their lightsabers a lot, and they just start using the Force.
But as a master fight, they use the Force a lot more.
Right, they do. It's because they're great with the Force, and it's just Yoda for me that makes that fight. Palpatine's great. Don't get me wrong. I love when he's like cackling and laughing, and he's swinging the pods back and forth, chucking them at Yoda, but it's just Yoda that makes that fight for me. He walks in just like he owns the freaking place, and he's like, I'm gonna kill this guy,
Yeah.
And Yoda, you can see the disparity in his eyes, the order that he's served 800 plus, almost 900 years of his life to was gone in a day. And Yoda is pissed.
Oh, he's pissed.
He's not one to, he's really good at hiding his emotions, but he's pissed off. And he's like, I'm going to kill this fool. I'm going to kill this freaking guy.
Yeah.
And that's what makes the fight for me. That's what makes it my number one is mix of emotion.
And see,
well
I was going to
choreographed
put that
fight.
in my. But
It's just
I knew you were going to have it, so I didn't even put
it's
it
a
in
personal bias thing. You
there. I
know,
love that fight, though.
if
I
you're
do.
looking at some random person's top 5, top 10, it probably maybe squeezes in the top 10. I don't even know if it makes a lot of people's top 5, but to me,
That's crazy because you get to see Yoda, the mentor of Luke, and the Emperor
right, duke it out.
duke it out.
It's and they duke it out. And it's amazing. Yeah, dude, the lightsaber fights are awesome. Definitely one of the best parts about Star Wars. If you guys have a lightsaber fight that you're really passionate about, go ahead and you know where you can find us. You can find us on you can email us at imperialradio66@gmail.com. You can email us with questions, concerns, ideas for videos. You know, you can say some random crap. I don't care. We can read your stuff on air if you want to.
You can send us
you can,
death threats.
You can
if
send
you
us
want.
death threats. We'll read them on here. We
We'll
don't
read
care,
them.
man. We'll take anything.
We just hope that you do a cool death threat. You know, like Samuel Jackson said, "I don't want to die like no fool."
Right. Exactly. Exactly. You know, if you got questions or something or concerns or comments, you email us and we can read them on air, read your questions and answer them or something like that. You can find us on Twitter. That's probably the best place to, a fun way to interact with us. That's at Imperial Radio P1 on Twitter. That is our Twitter. You can go and we have polls sometimes. We have tweets that you can go and interact with and stuff like that. That's probably the best way to get in fun contact with us. Email us if you have, direct concerns. We're on Facebook and Instagram. Instagram, I'm always sharing the memes. The memes on the Instagrams is good. Those are both at Imperial Radio Podcast on both of those. You can find us on TikTok. Just search Imperial Radio on TikTok. We should come up. You'll see a bunch of dumb little TikToks that I make. I made one recently where it had nothing to do with Star Wars. I literally had these Pop Rocks that I got on vacation, and I just ate them, and they're really sour Pop Rocks, so it was a mix of Pop Rocks, and they're super sour. So I ate them and was like crying on camera. I wasn't crying, but I was like, "Whoa, these are sour" on camera, and got like 400 views and some likes. It was a good time, just people watching me in pain. If you want to watch me eat stuff that puts me in pain, Baby Yoda cereal. Maybe we'll eat the Baby Yoda cereal on there.
Maybe.
If you like videos that are more than 60 seconds or 15 seconds, whatever TikTok is, you can find us on YouTube. Just go and search Imperial Radio. We post. I haven't posted in a while. I need to get on to that. We posted some videos in the past with us. If you want to see what me and Al look like, you can go and watch a video. Go watch a video where we discuss. We have we play a little kind of like newlywed style game where we have questions and try to choose which one of us matches the question the best. It's a great video. Girlfriend, you could hear the girlfriends laugh at us because we're so dumb and stuff.
It's great.
It's great.
It's great.
It's really great.
Okay.
Yeah. So go ahead, interact with us. Like, comment, subscribe. YouTube. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, go ahead and hit the bell for more icon. Hit the bell icon for heads up. I don't know what they say.
I don't know either.
But yeah, go ahead. Anything helps. Likes, retweets.
Check us out.
Instagram
likes. On Twitch.
Yeah, streaming on Twitch.
We only stream.
We just go on Tinder and stream it on Twitch. I'm just kidding. What were you gonna say?
We got that old style game where it's the Millennium Falcon with just one joystick and A and B button.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's only got a couple different game modes on it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what we play.
Yeah, we play that.
But we stream it.
Yeah,
check it out. I got a high score on the Endor speeder race game of 92.
Dude, I have an Imperial Radio Twitch.
Really?
I made an account so I could give a friend some followers so he could become a Twitch affiliate. But we should stream sometime. We should get on I could get on Call of Duty or not. I know you don't play Call of Duty much, but something that we could play together. And we should stream sometime. Maybe.
I don't know. I don't know what that is.
Al don't video game much very more.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah. Shut up.
I play my computer games. I go on cool math games.
Oh yeah, dude, we can stream some cool math games.
Can we play the Granny Race game?
Dude, yes, we can.
I
play
do
the
addition. It was Granny Multiplier.
Yeah, I hated the actual math games. Why? What? You like those things?
Oh, they were fun.
No.
I made my grandma really weird. Like they race, and you had to do math problems to win the race.
I just played Balloons Tower Defense and back in the day.
I played Pop Tropica.
Dude, Pop Tropica was a vibe.
Also, I played, go to y8.com. I highly recommend y8.com. Fun games. Play Kitten Cannon. You got to shoot kittens.
Is that
a real thing?
Is that like the Like the fun? Is that like a Fun Brain thing, or is that a different thing?
What, Y8.com?
You remember Fun Brain?
Yeah, I remember Fun Brain.
What's
no,
Y8?
Y8's like adult games.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you're under the age of 16, do not go on Y8.com.
Okay. I've never been on it. I'll have to go and give it a
It's
search.
not like bad.
Oh, just.
It's not like that way you're thinking.
Oh, okay.
Then I would say under 18.
All right. Okay.
There's
yeah.
no nudity,
Oh.
ladies and gentlemen. I'm not a weirdo.
Well, that's boring. I'm not gonna watch it.
It's just like you get to kill cats and stuff.
Oh, cool.
And you know, burn crosses and stuff.
Oh, that's nice.
No, I'm just kidding.
All right.
But yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, so that's the episode this week. We hope you guys enjoyed. Like we said, go and find us on all of our Instagrams, Facebooks, SoundCloud. You can listen. Obviously, you're listening to SoundCloud, Spotify, YouTube. Anything helps, guys. But yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed the episode. We'll see you next week. Have a great Sunday night. I'm guessing is when you'll be hearing this. So,
are you ready for the football?
dude, I miss football so much.
Me too.
All right, have a good night, guys.